Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Andy. I tell ancient Chinese stories. If you think China is so weird, you have to dig into its long history to understand its culture and civilization. I can't tell you the future of China, but I can tell you its past, story by story. After Pangu split the heaven and earth, there was no human being. There was a goddess named Nüwa. One day, she was lonely and wandering around. She walked to the bank of the Yellow River. The water in the river mirrored her beautiful image. Then she had an idea. She used the clay from the river bed with the water from the Yellow River, made a clay figure according to her own image. Nüwa was very happy, so she made more and more clay figures. But these clay figures were as lonely as the goddess Nüwa. Nüwa felt sorry for the women, so she made a man, but no name for the man. Personally, I do believe the man got a name. These oral prehistories are passed down from ancestors to descendants, generations by generations, for thousands of years. Some information were missing, including the man's name. The women were happy when the man came. Is man made for the pleasure of woman? In a matriarchal society, it could be. Then, Yuan made more men and women. Men and women made more babies. But it was not enough. Nuwa found a way of mass production. She dipped a weeping willow branch into the muddy riverbed and waved the willow branch. The muddy drops fell down to the earth and became men and women. Then, Nuwa set up a marriage for them. It could be the communal marriage. The goddess of Nuwa also invented the music instrument for men and women. They enjoyed the music and lived together harmoniously. The goddess of Nüwa was happy too, but she was exhausted and fell into a sleep. All of a sudden, there was a noise from the god of water and the god of fire. In China, we have an old saying, there is no tolerance between water and fire. The god of water and the god of fire had a bloody fight. It also could be a war between two primitive tribes. One believed in water and the other believed in fire as their totem. In the end, the god of water called a big flood. The fire was extinguished. This war caused a catastrophic disaster for human beings, especially the big flood. Yuva took off one leaf from her hula skirt and put it on the flood as an ark. The people were saved. This is the Chinese version of the big flood. The god of fire lost the war and became furious. He made a suicide attack as retaliation. They played chicken and crashed. Boom! There was a huge explosion. The heaven was cracked. The stars and stones were falling from the sky. People were screaming and running around. Many people were killed by the falling rocks. Yuwa was worried. She had to do something to save the people. Then she was determined to patch the heaven. She gathered lots of colored cobblestones and smelted them with fire. The stones became a colorful gel which could be used to patch the heaven. Nuwa hid to the sky with the jelly stones and filled them into the cracks of the heaven. She had to fly back to the earth back and forth to fetch more jelly stones. With all her efforts, the heaven was almost fixed. But all of a sudden, the heaven cracked again. The crack grew bigger and bigger. There was no way for her to patch the heaven again. The crack was just to look like her figure. Nuwa fit her body into the crack without hesitation. The heaven was patched, and the human beings were saved. Nuwa created humans and sacrificed for them. She became the stars in the sky, overlooking the people. It is said that Nuwa had a human body but no legs. Her lower part is a snake body. We can take a wild guess. The Chinese pronunciation Nuwa sounds like Eva in the Bible. In the Chinese oral prehistory, the serpent was involved for sure. So, Nuwa had a snake body. I really feel sorry for our ancestors. How can parents and grandparents tell their kids about these unreasonable stories? They were not lying, it was misinformed. So they called it mythology. The photo in the middle is a wall painting from an ancient underground tomb. The woman on the left is Nüwa. She holds a compass which can be used to draw a circle. The man on the right holds a gauge which can be used to draw a square. His name is Fu Xi. We'll talk about his story later. The ancient Chinese world ideology is that the heaven is round and the earth is square. They can draw a circle and square with their tools, which means they can control the heaven and the earth. There are sun on the top and the moon on the bottom, which symbolize the yin and the yang. The two photos on the right is a Nüwa temple, which was built on a mountain southwest of Beijing over 500 kilometers. China is a large country with billions of a population and thousands of years of a history. It's dominated by the Han people, the majority. But there are many other diverse minorities who live in the remote areas. Their cultures are quite different from the Han culture, so they have their own legends. There is a Miao minority in southwest China. Their story goes like this. One day, the god of thunder called a heavy rain to a small village. Wait a minute, I have to introduce the Chinese god of thunder. He has a beak, wings, and claws. He is a birdman with a hammer on the right claw and a chisel on the left claw, and drums on his waist. I don't think the god of thunder from Hollywood need an introduction. The hero of the Miao people fought against the god of thunder and captured him. The Miao hero put the god of thunder into a cage. He told his son and daughter that do not give him any water. The god of thunder was groaning. The children felt pity for him and gave him some water to drink. The god of thunder was supercharged as soon as he drank the water. He broke the cage and flew into the sky. Before he left, he took out one tooth from his mouth and gave it to the brother and the sister. He told them to plant it into the earth. If there were any disasters, hide in its fruit. The brother and the sister planted the tooth. Soon, a wind came out from the ground and bore a huge gourd. The god of thunder called a big flood to the Miao people for revenge. All the Miao people died in the flood except the siblings. They survived in the gourd and became the new ancestors for the Miao people. Well, today we learned the story that how Nüwa created the humans and sacrificed for them, and the story of the big flood, including one from Miao minority. I hope you enjoy it. See you next time. Bye bye.